You know, one thing that I don't really enjoy is going to the dentist. And it's not just because of the checkups, it's just the whole process. For me, when going to the dentist, it's not a smooth process from start to finish. What am I talking about? Well, let's just give you a bit of a background, a bit of a story about what I have to go through when it comes to going to the dentist. From the very beginning, arranging an appointment, that's always a bit of a challenge because they ask you to call them. And for someone like me, it's not the best experience, and I kind of want to avoid using the phone. There have been times where I had to go down in person just to arrange an appointment because the phone wasn't possible for whatever the reason. But this is where I get really confused, is why can it not be made simpler and use some kind of online system that, you know, you can just book your appointment there and then. Everyone wins. It's easy, it's quick for the person booking, for the patients. It's easy and quick for the person on the other end, the receptionist, the staff, to manage the booking. That's it. Less time for all this nonsense in terms of, are you available this day or this day or this day? None of that. Just have an online booking system. It makes it very, very easy. But for you to have that, then you need to have a website, and not just a website, but a good website. Because in my experience, from what I do in my job, I tend to see that most dental practices, GP, medical practice, their website tend to be awful. Pretty bad, because it's not up to date, it doesn't have a booking system, it doesn't have a contact form, it doesn't have the relevant information, it doesn't really make you feel comfortable about using the website. And the one thing that I always see is it's not secure. So when they say to you to use the contact form to send them an email to ask for information or to arrange your booking, but the website isn't secure, then that makes me question a lot of things, because I am not going to send you an email if your website isn't secure and it has all my details, my email address, my home address, your phone number, all these information, and you want to send it on a contact form on an unsecure website. It's not going to happen. So let's just go past that stage. Let's say you somehow arrange an appointment. Well, what happens then is you go down there, you say that I am here for my appointment, and you sit in the waiting room. Now, depending on how the waiting room is set up, it's going to be quite confusing for some people. What I have to go through in the past is that you sit in the waiting room, but there's no information about who is next. They just yell sometimes, or they just say something in a volume that, you know, not very audible for myself. So that's not very easy for me, and sometimes they have to maybe say it more than once just to make sure that that person's available. But if I missed what I heard and I didn't hear it in the end, and I missed my slot and they move to the next person, well, that just creates a whole new problem, doesn't it? So I don't know what's the solution for that, but one thing you can do is have one of these banners to say you are next in line, or have the person to come straight into the waiting room and just say clearly or in front of you that you are the next person. Now, of course, it's good for me to make sure that I am sitting in the right place, but even when I do that, they don't always do the right thing. They tend to just holler somewhere far away, and that's just not going to help me at the end of the day. And then the fun part, when you get to sit on the chair and get your checkups done. Well, there are two things that I tend to go through most of the time. Is the dentist will have the face mask on, and of course the nurse, the assistant as well, will also have the face mask on, and they will have a conversation with you. Well, that's just jolly, but that's not going to work really if I tend to rely a lot on lip reading, and that's not going to be possible if you have a face mask on. I mean, in general, I don't know why dentists want to have a conversation with you when they kind of, you know, doing their thing, get the tools in their mouth and started drilling and started to kind of scrape things and whatever and poke out your teeth, and they ask you questions why they do that. I can never understand that. But the face mask thing, well, it's an issue. I get it. You need to have a hygiene thing on. It makes sense. I'd probably want you to have that instead of spitting on my face. But there are solutions out there, and I have seen online where they have this clear mask and you can lip read that person, and you can also judge your emotion of that person because you can see that person smiling or not, and just the way the body language is as well. Part of it is your facial expression, and if you have your mask completely covering or half covering your face, it's quite hard to judge what you're saying and to hear what you're saying. So I don't know if that's going to be a solution for you. Maybe you might like it, maybe you won't. The clear mask thing is out there. It looks a bit weird, but it's a good option, I think, really, if you want to kind of make sure that you are connecting with your patient. And then let's just say the whole thing is done, you've done your job, and they kind of do their thing with the paperwork and the computer. Most of the time, they tend to, after they've done the checkup, they tend to turn around on the chair and they do what they need to do on the computer to send a message back to the receptionist and whatever. And then they start talking. Again, just bring up the issue of lip reading. It doesn't really happen when you have your back to me. And also, it's not ideal really. Why would you want to have your back to me when you're trying to have a conversation? I don't know about you, but I'd rather have that, face-to-face communication instead of back to face. Not ideal. But anyway, regardless of that, I can't lip read you when you have your back to me. So that's something that I tend to experience almost every time, if not every time. And then to finish it all off, you go back to the reception and book your next appointment. And thankfully, when you do that, then that saves you the hassle of calling them to say, can I book an appointment to see a dentist on this date? Because if you book it in advance, you know when it's going to come, you know what's going to happen, and you don't have to worry about calling them to book an appointment. However, if you need to rearrange, that's a whole separate situation. But when you go to the receptionist, most of the time it's okay. You tend to see the person in front of you. You can lip read, tend to be quite clear. Waiting rooms are not generally a noisy environment, so it tend to be okay. So that part is actually quite fine. But then it's just the whole process prior to that, which makes it a bit of an awkward experience sometimes when I go to the dentist. And that's why I want to ask a question. Do you have an awkward experience when you go to the dentist? Or is it just me? Because I have my own experience and I don't know what you go through. But at the end of the day, if you're a dentist and you have seen this video, let me know, does what I say make sense? Do you have any questions that you want to ask? Just ask in the comment down below. Because I don't mind helping out and sharing information on how to make it more easier for everyone to go to the dentist. Whether you are hearing or non-hearing, whether you're deaf or hard of hearing, whatever it is, just want to make it easier for you, because at the end of the day, everybody wins. The last thing you want is to have some kind of medical neglect in terms of me not able to hear you, what you said about my health, my dental health. So if you have any question and you're a dentist, let me know down below and I'll get back to you, because I just want to make it easier for you and for me. I hope this makes sense, and make sure you hit the red button down below and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, because then you can be up to date with all the videos that will come out and you won't miss any videos from me. In the meantime, I will speak to you soon. Take care.